I want to know myself what the fuck has gotten into Republican women, other than the fact that they're inbred and that they breed and that they have sex with their brother on a daily basis. But the GOP women freak out over losing reproductive rights, but they embrace cruelty when it's someone else's right being at stake. Now, late last month, a bill that would have banned nearly all abortion and likely would have been used to restrict hormonal birth control as well was defeated in the South Carolina State Senate despite it being one of the most conservative legislators in the country. Now, this defeat drew national headlines in no small part because of how it all went down. The only 5 women in the Senate, three of them being Republicans, filibustered the bill into oblivion. At times, the Republican women sound downright well feminist. Now, once a woman became pregnant for any reason, she would now become the property of the state of South Carolina. State Senator Katrina Shealy declared angrily during this debate. South Carolina is not some outlier state when the rare bird of the pro-choice Republican flourishes, to be clear. But in the same speech denouncing abortion bans, Shealy insisted she is still pro-life even if she's not. It's just that these women are learning a hard lesson, as are many other Republican women, both leaders and voters. It's easy enough to vote. It's easy enough to be pro-life when Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. That meant you could sit in judgment of other women without ever worrying that you or your loved ones would lose access to any health care. Indeed, it was easy enough to pass restrictions that made it harder for poor women or even younger women to get abortions, so as long as Republican women could be assured their privilege would smooth the way for their abortions. Now, but outright bans on abortion, the kind that actually threaten the access not just of marginalized women, but well-to-do white ladies, that cannot stand. This phenomenon is joked about on social media as the leopards eating people's faces party due to a viral tweet that was tweeted out by author Adrian Bott. Basically, his tweet said, "I never thought leopards would eat my face. Subs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party." Now, the humor of this tweet depends heavily on the imagery of the imaginary sabber of being a female. Now, for better or worse, people understand why white women, or even white men, are Republicans, because the GOP is built around the preservation of white male dominance over everyone. But why so many women vote Republican is a question that causes great consternation, since the party is not exactly subtle about its hostility towards women and their rights. The ex-squatter and current Nazi leader bragged on tape about sexual assault. Is it that these women hate themselves that much? Now the tweet gets even closer to the real answer. The Republican women, like Republican men, enjoy cruelty to others. They assume their class and race privilege will shield them from the misogyny of the party, but when that assumption gets rattled, they often panic. There's more to the situation than a mere love of punching down. Now, the Republican women understand that they live in a sexist society. They just tend to see feminism as a pipe dream not worth fighting for. It's a safer bet to most of them, and it's safer for them to accept second-class status to the men, and then try to leverage femininity and the conservative politics to scratch out some level of status and power for themselves within a patriarchal system. That's how old-school anti-feminists like Phyllis Schlafly played the game. By organizing against the Equal Rights Amendment, she and her army of housewives gained political power and a voice without stepping on any male toes and risking any backlash. Now, the Republican Party has gotten downright crafty by creating opportunities for the middle and upper class. Now, the white women to feel powerful by punching down while maintaining a submissive posture towards the men in their lives. Now, recently, David Gilbert of Vice had published an in-depth look at how the new AstroTurf movement, Moms for Liberty, offers conservative women a chance to pull off that balancing act. Now, the group focuses its efforts on banning books in schools and libraries and harassing organizations that advocate on behalf of the LGBTQ kids, and they bully teachers and other school officials for offering they bully the teachers and other school officials for offering real education instead of fact-free right-wing propaganda. And Moms for Liberty has unleashed some deeply antisocial behavior in these women. Now, in Pennsylvania, the leader of a local Moms for Liberty chapter allegedly hijacked a dead woman's Facebook page to harass her enemies, including using the N-word and saying that they should be, and that all black people should be hung from a noose, which is racist in itself. But in Arkansas, the head of communications of the Lonoke County chapter said that librarians should be plowed down with a fucking gun. But in Chattanooga, Tennessee, a member of a local Moms for Liberty chapter harassed an opposing group, and she threatened to report them for child abuse and called them pedophile sympathizers, which she had no proof of. In Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, police had to be called to a school board meeting after members of Moms for Liberty accused attendees of being groomers, which she had no proof of either, and wanting to show explicit pictures to kids. In Charleston, South Carolina, a Moms for Liberty affiliated member of the local school board publicly stated that he would show up at his son's teacher's doorstep with a gun if the teacher came out as transgender, if he had no proof of that either. Now this is a hat. Now here's a hat tip to Natalie Wynn at ContraPoints for reminding people of the 1983 book Right Wing Woman by Andrea Dworkin. Now Dworkin was a feminist polemist who had a lot of ideas that don't age well, but in this book she's got conservative women dead to rights. Now women cling to irrational hatred that are focused particularly on the unfamiliar, so that they will not murder their fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, lovers, the men with whom they are intimate with, and those who do hurt them and cause them grief. Because women so displace their rage that they are easily controlled and manipulated haters. They can't yell at condescending husbands or abusive fathers, not without losing status in their communities, but the angst can be projected onto boogeymen. Now, the bullying LGBTQ kids are banning books. Provides a socially acceptable outlet for this rage. They can wallow in being domineering and mean and get commended for it, because they're doing it in the name of what they claim family values, even though the Republicans are not the party of family values. The face of this was neatly illustrated last week when a bunch of Republican women in Montana had decided to bully trans state representative Zoe Zephyr by taking the only seat she could work at. After the Republican majority barred her from the floor for speaking out about trans rights. The photo of these women who are downright gleeful in their cruelty speaks volumes to its words. It's not surprising. It's no surprise that it's all women. Transphobia gives them a chance to step out of the thankless role of being servile and differential, letting them play the role of the bully. And it's hard for most of us to imagine being so incredibly petty as to spend even one moment of your limited time on Earth doing something like this. But it's safe to guess that these women don't have a lot else going on in their lives except for the fact that they inbreed with their family. Now, indeed, anti-abortion politics has long provided this outlet for a lot of Republican women. They can go to clinics and harass patients going in. They can work at anti-abortion centers trying to trick vulnerable women into not getting an abortion. They can post lengthy diatribes on Facebook about how feminists are man-haters, and they collect the accolades for their supposed Christian purity, even though they're not Christian at all. But it's all fun and games as long as Roe stood and they knew that they could quietly access abortion as needed. And then when Roe got overturned, and that two-faced approach suddenly became less tenable. Now the abortion bans rub Republican women's noses in the fact that the men in their lives would rather that they be dead than free. Now most of these women are skilled enough at cognitive dissonance to find some excuse for ignoring that grim reality, and they'll keep pretending that the real problem is feminists or gay people, instead of the men in their homes and beds who believe they don't deserve basic rights. But as the South Carolina situation shows, some of them are feeling forced to resist, often for the first time in their pathetic lives. Now, if you like the video, you can get the video, like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell and also subscribe to the channel, if you like the video, that is. And so if you want to, you can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. You can also leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you want to support my work, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a video or a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.